here. So we'll start with Tosin Oshinowo. She's the architect behind the new Maryland Mall, the Black Box in Lagos, and runs CMD Atelier, the basement parking and illustrious outlets. She'll be speaking on passion time and stairs at this event. She's the lead architect at CMD Design Atelier, an architecture design consultancy practice based in Lagos since 2012. Her interests are in architectural history, socially responsive approaches in design, architecture, and urbanism. So, a round of applause. She comes up to speak.
Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing? Okay. Thank you all for the warm welcome, and thank you for the invitation to be part of Creative Architects 2016. We all share something in common. We're all creatives, but more importantly, we all studied or are studying architecture. Architecture students sit in a funny place in relation to the wider university life. We work long hours in studio, passionately going over our ideas, and in most cases being very poor because all our pocket money goes towards our projects. We do it out of passion, genuine passion, because as you know by now, it's not the easiest road to follow. So I want to squash a myth for those who haven't realized it yet. No one can teach you architecture. Your tutors and professors can only guide. Architecture is a path of self-discovery, honing your understanding of your environment and design, and eventually your growth into a design language that manifests in a physical form. We all have our strengths within the profession, be it project management, supervision, detailed drawings, but schools of architecture are places of developing our skill in design. Passion, time, and stairs. None of us would be here if we truly did not believe in what we are doing, and for that, well done, and keep it up. It will be filled with hurdles, and it's important to always keep one's eye on the ball. Failure is never final. Never be discouraged. The purpose of failure is to learn and improve, and I have personally experienced this. In 2006, I was in my final year at the Architecture Association London. It was very challenging, and it ended with me having to repeat the academic year. I was so gutted when I was told that I would not be put forward to the external examiners. It felt like the ceiling had caved in. All I could think of was the disappointment for my parents and the additional school fees for another year. My tutor told me something that I will never forget. She said it's better to finish school with a strong design portfolio than a weak one and just scale through life. At the time, I was too upset to appreciate the advice, but after a depressing summer break, I went back to school and gave it my all. When I finished in 2007, I got a special acknowledgement for my project from the external examiners. And as Rem Koolhaas, Office of Metropolitan Architecture, OMA, visited the end of year student show, he saw my project and offered me a job on the spot. I went to Rotterdam and worked at OMA and on several interesting projects, and was fortunate enough to be part of a team that worked on the 4th Mainland Bridge design proposal in 2008. It was very long hours, but I enjoyed every minute of it. The lesson from this: I learned what I had been doing wrong the year before. I swallowed my pride, improved myself, done really well, went to work for one of the top design practices in Europe, and all because of failure. When a child falls down, they just get up and keep running. When an adult falls down, they first look back to what tripped them and then continue the journey. Failure is about learning lessons. We learn more from failure than from success. Time. Architecture is a profession of apprenticeship, understudy, but more importantly, the process of doing over and over again. There are many paths one can take on this journey, But one thing cannot be disputed is time. We need time to hone our skill. Please do not ever be too much in a hurry to get to the other end, but don't also be too slow. Quality will always shine through. Stairs. For all of us, life is a journey, and our paths are different and will be different. Some of us will be famous and others not. The important thing is that we put our all in everything we do and do it for the right reasons. All else will fall into place. But remember, there is no easy road to success. Even for those who seem to hit the limelight fast, we all need to take the stairs to true greatness. My journey is no different, as I am beginning to experience the early stages of success as a practice from our recent and biggest project, Maryland Mall. We're a design practice. We started the work on Maryland in late February 2013, initially to review a design proposal and eventually to design what stands on Ikorodu Road today. It was a journey filled with ups and downs, highs and lows, all in a persuasion to deliver an unorthodox building, and we believe it has paid off. Today in Nigeria and much of Africa, we're in a retail boom. And as such, we have strived to ensure that we can produce a product that was forward-thinking, quality built, and quality for the end consumer. Maryland Mall has fondly been coined the big black box. The big question, why black? Well, our intention was to make the building a silhouette backdrop for the LED screen and all the brand signage, thereby creating a welcoming announcement for patrons and visitors alike. The screen, which is 60 meters long, will be the longest in West Africa and also ensures our building is a Cartesian revenue opportunity across all XYZ coordinates, a simple idea we think has been executed well. In contrast to its brutalist minimal exterior, the interior opens up to a warm light palette with all the pomp and pageantry for a shopping experience. We have 7,000 square meters of retail space, a building efficiency of 80%, and retailers such as ShopRite and Genesis Cinemas as anchor tenants. Another crowd pillar is our food court. The double volume space on the second floor we predict will be the hub of the building, including businesses such as The Place and Chicken Republic. It is intentionally located on the second floor to sustain human traffic. Our design is unconventional. We have no windows, but two skylights that elegantly throw light down the building interiors. As architects, we use design and program to ensure a viable and sustainable retail hub for all the 40 outlets. It was said by Nelson Mandela, "It always seems impossible until it's done." So back to the beginning, where did it all start? A client engages an architect to deliver on a big dream. For the wider profession and in light of the current economic climate, limitations of the environment, finance, a Nigerian factor that outside is better, against all odds and with the support and belief of our clients who dared to dream big, we were able to achieve. As architects, we use design to solve some fundamental problems and thought constraints. Hopefully, we were able to deliver a building that was proudly playful, unconventional, unapologetic in its design, and will serve as an unforgettable landmark in the heart of Lagos. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Architect Tosin, for that. So we're going to be taking questions just for 5 minutes. If you have anything you want her to clarify, why a black box? Where's the parking? Any questions you might have? Nobody? Really? Okay.
There are 40 shops within the mall. Yes. But in case anyone is interested in the parking, we have basement parking. It's the first shopping mall in Nigeria to have basement parking.
The slide didn't show.
It's not in the slides.
Oh, okay. But would you have an idea of what the cost of a shop is there? Are they up for
They're
rental?
they're all leased, and they're leased on a yearly basis. But
Oh, God.
they're not all gone. I think there are one or two that are still left. But it's the leasing agent who'll be in a better position to advise on cost.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Kazim Usaina, and my question is, as a female architect, how did you begin in Nigeria? How was the footing? How did you start your journey as an architect in Nigeria, a female architect precisely? That's my question.
Okay, so as I said in my speech, it's a profession of apprenticeship. Before I set up the office 4 years ago, I worked at a firm here called James Cuba Architects. I'm sure most of you will know James Cuba Architects. It is Civic Center, the Diamond Bank on Lekki Road. But as a female architect, I think it's very, very important as individuals that we do not carry gender on our forehead, because sometimes when you know the limitations of your gender, you will also limit yourself. I work on sites. In most cases, I'm the only woman on site. And you need to be very firm, and you need to know what you want, and don't be easily swayed by situations that happen. Always keep your eye on the ball. The biggest problem we have in Nigeria is finishing, where people are easily compromised. Okay, just leave it, we're running out of time. Be consistent, and if you are known for being consistent, people eventually will fall into line. But please don't ever feel you cannot do it. If you take yourself as, I'm not a man, I'm not a woman, I'm an individual, and I'm here as a professional to do a job, then you'll be fine.
My name is Akim. So what are the challenges you face in the course of the project between you and the consultancy in the project to the completion?
There were a lot of challenges on the job. I think the most important thing as the architect is the architect is the only person who has complete oversight and overview on what you dreamed the project to be. A lot of people will come in and say, oh, structural engineer will come and say, this span is too wide, I want to put a column. You say, no, go and look for how to do it. There's a project that I showed up there of a palm tree in a beach house. The structural engineer then was like, oh, it'll be easier to chop it down. I said, I don't care how you're going to do it, go and look for the solution. Nothing is impossible. If you are consistent and you let them know that this is how I want this building to be, and I'm not going to waver on my intent, then you will achieve what you want. In some cases, yes, you do have to compromise, but you need to always make sure you are consistent. Make sure you are consistent on what you want to achieve at the end, because long after the drama of the back and forth with the consultants and the contractors, when the building is standing, nobody knows what went on behind. All they see is a brilliant project. So even if you fight on their issues, it doesn't matter at the end, because when the project comes out well and everyone is smiling, nobody remembers the pain beforehand.
Okay, sorry, we'll take just 2 more questions. There's a lady on this row and the gentleman at the back. No, she.
Not to come.
Do you have a microphone?
Hello? Good afternoon. My name is Nasiru. I wanted to ask, when we were in school, they told us that black absorb heat. Okay, I was wondering, since the building does not have any windows, I wanted to know how you treated the heating and then ventilation and all. And I wanted to know the material they use for the black substance around the building. Thank you.
Yes, black does absorb heat, and we have been criticized on that slightly. We don't have any windows, but we have a central cooling system, HVAC system that runs through the building. So where normally they would say don't use black, usually it's because you have natural cross ventilation. But in the case where this building is heavily dependent on artificial lighting, we have 2 skylights. However, if there are no lights in the building, you will still have light because there's light thrown down through the atriums. But the cooling system is a control system, which all shopping malls have. And the reality is it's a building that we have 3 generators. We have backup, and backup. So hopefully we should have no problems. But to be honest, I'm a firm believer that everything is about experimentation. Why do something just because? Why not push the boundaries and see what can be achieved? I mean, that's the reason why everybody recognizes it. People just think there's no windows, it's black, and it just stands out. There will be lessons that we also learn from it. I'm not saying I know everything. There might be some things that we would do differently on the next project, but I think it's nice to know that we push the envelope. The material that we use to finish the building is tyroline, it's sprayed concrete. Funny enough, the client was very particular about cost, and it was cheaper to tyroline the building than actually paint it. But it was only because we went through this back and forth and looking for materials that we were even able to discover and use that material. So there's something beautiful that comes about being confined. In Nigeria, there's so many things that we cannot get easily. But it's when you have to really be creative within the limits of your space that you can really push the boundaries.
Ayeni Olajide, you said for the big billboard, it's supposed to be an LED screen, but I realized I don't think it's still an LED screen, because they are, and I would like to know the reason why. And secondly, I was in a conversation with a friend about the traffic at the node of the Maryland. I know and I believe it's solved. So I would like to understand the considerations on how you attempted to solve them. Thank you.
The LED screen is coming. It was actually stuck at the port in clearing when we had the opening. They are actually going to start on site today to install it. What you see now on the building is the steel frame that is being used that will carry the LED screen in place. So in another 2 weeks, it will be there. Oh, the traffic. We worked very, very closely with Lagos State, the transport department on the traffic. I have to say, I had never really worked with anybody in terms of civil servants before. I will tell you this, they are the most knowledgeable people about our city, and they deserve the respect of their jobs. They worked out, because we were so stuck, they actually called and said, come, let's solve your traffic problem for you. We worked out a system of a slipway off Ikorodu Road before we get to the inside of our site. So there's a whole road that runs around the perimeter of our building internally that can carry 120 cars in a queue before you even enter the site. So that's how we solved the problem. And then we have the basement parking. And then we also have a system where when you're leaving the mall, you cannot turn left back onto Ikorodu Road. You have to turn right. And you can only access the mall from the slipway on Ikorodu Road.
Okay, so we can take one last question.
Good afternoon. Morning. Good morning. Yeah. First, I think I want to use this medium to appreciate this project, because I remember the last creative architect Tosin actually told me about a big project. She didn't disclose it to me, and by the next creative architect, I think it's live. That's a very wonderful achievement. But secondly, I want to find out, or I want you to tell us how the project came about. If it was on a competition basis, what edge did you have? Because I'm of the opinion that there are some projects that come to life based on invitation. There are some projects which the architect generates, you know, like you're the one that bring it up about that project, probably by suggesting to a client, okay, why not, let's do this, and go, oh really, okay, let's do it. So if there were competition, what were the challenges, and why were you chosen, and if not, how did it come about? Thank you.
Okay, so it wasn't a competition. It was a direct commission. The client, my client, is a developer. There's a family that owned the land, so it was a JV contract, joint venture agreement between them. The landowner actually had a design that was done that he took to the developer to finance. But the developer said, after we did an initial review, we were only called in to review a design. And when we reviewed it and it wasn't working, we were now asked to propose something. But funny enough, maybe because I was a woman, or maybe because we were actually a young practice, the client wasn't very confident to give us the project and initially married us with another architect. But through the process of design, they actually realized that we were the ones doing all the work, and they later asked the other architect to step down. So it wasn't something that just came easily. But I do know now from what we've done, we've proved so much. We had so much to prove. And since we've done it, it will be a lot easier next time to get a project as a direct commission.
Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for Architect Tosin Oshinowo.